I'll take like 3 number 9s and 2 large fries and 2 vanilla shakes and a Coke. Let's do a Diet Coke.
Privacy Academy with Eric Meter.
If you were a psychopathic power seeker or a serial killer whose goal was to kill as many people, how would you do it? Wow, weird question to start a video off with, right? Well, don't worry, this is not going to be super dark, and I'm not starting a true crime podcast. Well, most people would say, oh, I don't know, maybe I'd make a big bomb. Well, that's not true. What if you could convince millions, no, billions of people to kill themselves? What? Am I talking about becoming an evil wizard or maybe getting a Shinigami's death note? Nope. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about something that's happening right now in the real world. If I were a psychopathic serial killer, I would want to be clean, cold, and hands off. And that's exactly how these psychopaths do it. What do I mean by this? Poison. Our world is a world of poison. We are beings of consumption. We consume thoughts, foods, sunlight, air, music, art. We consume constantly, and a majority of what we consume is poison. And what is the most effective poison? Well, the most effective poison is one that's consumed willingly. Look at the drug epidemic in America. Look at pharmaceuticals, highly processed foods. Look at video games and entertainment addiction. Why do people take drugs if they know it will kill them? Well, why do people eat at McDonald's if they know it will kill them? If you want to destroy the world, you don't have to lay a finger on someone. All you have to do is create a poison desirable enough that someone is willing to kill themselves for it. And I'm not talking about instantaneously. People don't order at McDonald's by taking a 12 gauge to the face. Instead, they pay a small fee and go home and enjoy their food. People know that smoking cigarettes leads to cancer, but they feel good, and cancer is not something that they'll think about until it happens. Of course, I'll trade tomorrow's happiness for today's convenience. Why? Because today is today and tomorrow is tomorrow. If you study video games or social media, you would know that these companies hired psychologists to study what makes something addicting. Maybe it's the dopamine received by social approval, or in other words, likes on a post. Maybe it's gaining a new level in your game and being able to use a new item or skill. Or maybe it's that awesome sound that would play in Modern Warfare 2 when you'd level up. Hey Richard, can you play that noise? Man, I miss playing that game. Even 10 years later, I'm craving that dun 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 dun. Why are we face deep in our phones almost all the time? Why do we feel naked in public when our phone dies and we're left with nothing but our mind? Why don't we just sit and look at birds anymore? Hey look, a pigeon. Wait, does that have a camera in it? No, all jokes aside, we are losing curiosity because we're never bored. We are constantly pumped full of dopamine and content. Boredom is what drives curiosity, and curiosity is what drives genius. Do you want an example of someone who looks at birds? Leonardo da Vinci, yep. His notebook was filled with countless ramblings, one of them which said, "Describe the tongue of a woodpecker." Wow, fascinating, huh? Leonardo really liked his birds. No, that's not the point. Leonardo was curious. Who the hell would think that thought? Someone who is bored and curious. Leonardo didn't paint the Mona Lisa because he doom scrolled on TikTok for 5 hours and ate Taco Bell that he DoorDashed at 3 a.m. He became a genius because he asked silly questions like describe the tongue of a woodpecker. Sure, maybe he never gained anything from that question. Maybe the tongue of a woodpecker is completely useless and it means nothing. But sometimes his questions would lead to greatness. So I went a little off topic here. The point of this video is poisons, especially poisons that are consumed willingly. What can you do as an antidote? Well, there's a lot of things you can do. I think the first step you can do is identify the poisons in your life. For example, if you vape, then every time you put a vape into your lips, tell yourself, this is poison. You can do the same thing for ultra-processed foods. Tell yourself over and over, this is poison. Then slowly break those habits. If you're dieting, stop buying junk food at a grocery store. Don't have your favorite snack easily accessible. And Timmy, you, Timmy, I know you're addicted to DoorDash, just uninstall the app. You'll thank me later. What is the end goal of this? You must become ultra refined. No screen time ever, only eat freshly killed deer, raw at the time of death. No longer wear clothes, go into the forest, become an animal, be afraid of lightning, sink into the caves and become the caves. I am the cave. What the heck? Okay, you can see when you go down a rabbit hole, you can get extreme. I'm not even sure how I went from eating McDonald's to I am the cave in a matter of seconds. Anyways, I hope you get my point. Yeah, life is filled with poisons, but no, that doesn't mean you have to be all in or all out. You are a human and you exist in society. I recommend that you take it one small step at a time. Teach yourself slowly to break free from bad habits and stop poisoning yourself. A lot of this will come down to a mental choice, and I personally think having clearly defined rules is essential for this. For example, if you're a hardcore drug user, you can't be like, I'm quitting heroin, but I'll have a cheat day every now and then. I think we all know where that would head. And you might say, well, McDonald's is not like heroin. And it's true, McDonald's is not like heroin. Heroin can kill you today, McDonald's takes decades. But in a way, quitting hard drugs can be simpler than quitting something as trivial as McDonald's. Why do I say that? Am I stupid? Do I not know how drug withdrawals work? Do I not know how they rewire the reward center of the brain and leave cravings for long periods of time? No, that's not what I'm saying. If you're on hard drugs and you want to quit, you understand what it will take. You know how hard it will be. You know that if you go back to them, your whole life will be ruined and you might die. But McDonald's, it doesn't matter if you have a cheeseburger and break your diet. It won't ruin your life. In fact, if you went completely off your diet altogether, it would hardly impact your life in the grand scheme of things. What's one cheeseburger? With hard drugs, you can leave the scene, your friends, and all contacts. You can start a new life and never see them again. But with McDonald's, it's on every corner, it's all over the world, and the golden arches are calling me. Once again, I'm not saying that quitting drugs is easy or belittling the struggles of addiction. What I'm saying is that people do not understand how hard it can be to quit average, socially accepted vices like sugar. If you want to take this a step further and talk about poison consumption, you can take it at a mental level. What thoughts do you allow yourself to think? If you allow yourself to have a dark, disordered, depressed mind, you will receive it. If you focus on horror movies, true crime, second mention, or extremely dark music like black metal, you're poisoning your mind. I think of it this way. People say that diabetes type 2 runs in families. Is it because they have a gene that makes them more susceptible to it? I don't know, I'm not a doctor. Or is it the fact that the culture and eating habits has been passed down generation after generation, slowly poisoning the entire bloodline? Sometimes it's one more than the other. Well, mindset, trauma, anxiety, depression, etc., all of these things can be passed down the same way. If you're anxious your whole life, that is a learned behavior for your child. Then your child grows up to be 18 years old and needs to wear a 30-pound weighted blanket in public just to calm down. Just jokes, people. I used to have a weighted blanket and it did feel nice. If you have anxiety or diabetes, I'm not saying this to jab at you or judge you. I mean, come on, look at me. I used to be 300 pounds. I was addicted to pharmaceuticals and I was extremely anxious and depressed. I have no place to judge, nor would I ever want to. There's no need for guilt. Instead, it's important to arm yourself with knowledge, make informed decisions on what you want out of life, and then take the correct action. Maybe you don't care about being ultra shredded Arnold physique. There's nothing wrong with that. We're all our own people. You can just be aware enough that way you can be in control of your reality and not a victim to it. So let's review this episode. I said quitting McDonald's is harder than quitting heroin. I made fun of people with anxiety and diabetes, and I talked about psychopathic serial killers who poison the world. Wow, this show is going downhill fast. No, I'm kidding. I'm sure you can see what I'm saying in this lesson. My goal is not to offend anyone, but rather share some of the conclusions that I've come to in my life. Not just theories, but thoughts that I actually use to turn my life around with. I hope it gives you something to think about. And if I wasted your time, if you hate this video, if you think I made too many unfunny jokes, then please like, comment, and subscribe. Oh, by the way, I should mention that since this channel is called Privacy Academy, I should tell you a little bit about what we do. One of the most dangerous poisons that exists in modern society is the technology that we use. We are living in a surveillance state, a system of total control that can be rolled out to create a Chinese social credit system. People willingly flock to the stores to buy smartphones, smart fridges, smart vacuums, and so on, which are all surveillance devices. The surveillance state is the biggest threat to our liberty, and I know I didn't cover it a ton in this video, but I still think this message is very prevalent to what is going on in respect to that. If you want to get private and exit the surveillance state, then please go to privacyacademy.com and join our newsletter. We're designed for average non-techie people. Thank you.